Remember your best friend in your distress. Who is your best friend? Yes, books are your best friend in your life. Good morning and warm welcome to my beloved student. Today in this class, we are going to discuss the second main from the lesson I believe books will never disappear. Interview between George Borges Lewis and Robert Alfino. So let us go deep in this to the second main, which carries each question carries 4 marks, and totally you have to write 8 questions from different lessons in your answer paper. So this 4 mark is definitely will be coming from this lesson. 1 4 mark question or 6 mark question will be coming for your final exam. So this main is very important. So let us understand, not to by heart it, let us understand how to write the second main and how to score 4 out of 4. So comprehension number 2, and first question, why does Borges feel remorseful after his mother's death regarding his relationship with her? Can this experience be generalized? Of course, remorseful means very sad after his mother's death. And it can be generalized, yes. He himself is telling that it is not only his own, it is his personal experience, but definitely it can be generalized. He himself is telling that it is the story of all the human being on earth. So he felt guilty that he have not given the first point. So as I told you, for the first 4 markers, you have to write your answer only in 1 paragraph, and about 5 to 6 points must be there. So you have to examine the question. This question is having 2 parts. Why he felt sad, and next is how can it be generalized. Generalized means common for everybody. So he felt guilty. The first reason is that he have not given the deserved happiness to her. Then he is telling that he regrets that he failed to understand his mother when she was living. Then third point, he generalizes his experience that it is not only for him, it is for all the children. When their mother or their parents are alive, they never value them. They begin to feel that they had taken for granted after their absence. When they are absent or when they are passed away, only they'll realize the true value. And especially he's hinting about mother's love, and he is telling that mother is where in mother in every individual's life plays an integral part, and her love cannot be compensated with any of the worldly riches or wealth. And she is being Donna Lenore, her mother. His mother is very kind, forgiving, and he is telling that she is a good lady. She takes all the pain to ensure that her children get better future. Her sacrifices her life for the sake of the younger ones. Borges' mother stood by him throughout his writing career. So need to by heart only recollect the 5 points I'm telling that. Once again I'm putting in a nutshell for this answer. That is, he felt sad after the death because he has not given the deserved love. And he is telling that his experience, it can be generalized. It is the feeling for the entire humanity. People will look their mothers or parents' love when they are alive, and after when they are no more, only they'll realize the true value of them, and that time they will be too late. And he calls his mother as a kind, loving, and forgiving lady. So this many 4 points is enough, and make sure that you are writing only in 1 paragraph. And second question, how does Borges elaborate Godey's work, all that is near becomes far? So here this question have asked in the question paper twice. So while giving the observation about blindness, at the age of 55 Borges became blind. So he recalls an idea that he had expressed in one of his poems. He said that the humiliation, misfortune, discord were given to us, especially for a writer or a poet, and what is his duty? To transmute and make from the miserable circumstance of life eternal works. For a writer, if he is having painful, a sad life or a sad experience, misfortune, humiliation, everything, it will enrich his experience, and the work what he's writing, it become eternal. Eternal means lives forever. Borges recalls to mind a statement made by Goethe, the famous writer. All that is near becomes far. In this statement, Goethe refers not only the sunset but also the life. Borges says that in this case, the visible world have moved away from his eyes forever. He feels that it is his duty to accept his misfortune and, as far as possible, enjoy those good things. So here he is telling a good, positive stroke for the readers. And see, everyone have ups and downs in their life, and if you sit and cry for your life, why it is for you, he's telling that only for the selected people you will have all this problem, and this you have to consider as a raw material, and in turn you have to write and make an eternal work out of it. And he compares that all that is near becomes far, telling that when we have eyesight, we never realizes, or we never when we have things in our hand, we never realize the worth of it. But after it is going, when we don't have that, we'll realize the true value of it. But he is telling that you need to sit and cry over your past or brood over the past. It is our duty to move on. We have to live in the present situation. Then question number 3. What, according to Borges, should one think for humiliation and misfortune? This is very important question. You must learn. And when you look into this answer, always one point is coming on and off, it is repeated. That is, whatever happens to a poet or a writer is a resource. And he is telling that whatever happens in human being's life, if it is a misfortune, humiliation, embarrassment, you have to consider it as a raw material and shape it into the form of art and eternal work. He says that humiliation, misfortune, discord were given us so that we may transmute them. We have to take into another level. Not only it is just like your personal experience, which indeed help others to overcome the difficulties in the life. After reading your work, the others also will feel that yes, it is not he is undergoing, it is the way of the world, and or the same experience like what he is feeling right now, it is being experienced by so many people. And what you have to do is you have to come out from your problems and look into the positivity of life, just like Borges have moved forward. At the age of 83 also, he is dedicated to his work, and he has started writing the great work about the history of books. So this question, if you learn this four points, that is resource. What is a resource? Your embarrassment, your future, your misfortune, your humiliation is a resource for you. For whom? For an artist or a poet. And what is your work? You have to transmute, change your problem into an eternal work. There lies the greatness of a poet or a writer. Then poetry is magical, mysterious, and unexplainable. How does Borges explain the strange aspects of poetry? What were Borges' view on poetry? This first, poetry is magical, mysterious, and unexplainable can be asked for 6-mark question also. And views on poetry. His views on poetry is aesthetic act. Poetry is not the poem. The poetic, as he's telling that for the sake of writing, you mustn't write a poetry. And if a writer is successful in his attempt, when you will be successful in his attempt, when as a poet, When he writes his work and reader enjoys its work, then you can tell that that poet is successful in his work. Borges believed that we become aware of it. That is why he calls poetry as magical. Why he calls as poetry as magical? Because it is an act unknowingly take place. How it is taking place? When the poet writes it and reader read it, and the reader is able to enjoy or understand the poet. So that is the reason he is telling it is magical, mysterious, and cannot be explained. It is not the way you have to enjoy the poet. It just happens. That's the reason he says that poetry is magical, mysterious, and unexplainable. Or you can tell that according to Borges, what is poetry? It is an aesthetic act, and it is magical, mysterious, unexplainable. Next question. How does Borges value literature? Why it is important for the future of mankind? So according to Borges, a book is an extension of our imagination. Just think the 4 points in your mind. Book for your imagination, and literature is a controlled dream. And he says that whatever happened in your life, you owe everything to the literature. And he believes that there is no difference between dreaming and remembering the past, because it's already happened. So he considered as dreaming and remembering is dreaming is equal to remembering the past, or past is equal to it's equivalent to you're dreaming about, because it's already over. It is book that serve as a product of recalling our past memories. And here he says that the role of the book cannot be replaced at any cost. Therefore, if books disappear, surely history will disappear. And he is telling that therefore the literature is very important for preserving the future of man. So for the existence of mankind to grow, to develop, or to go ahead, the history is very important. So he is telling that the future of mankind depends on literature itself. So he values literature very much. Now after this, let us have a small break. So let me ask 3 simple questions from the previous session. Mention any one of the things that Borges continued to do even after becoming blind. Yes, he continued. At the age of 55 he became blind, but still he continued to buy books and started filling his books house with books after becoming blind, when he became blind at the age of 55. Next question. When, according to Borges, would history of man disappear? According to whom, when the history will disappear? According to Borges, man and history would disappear if book disappear. Or in turn you can tell, if book disappear means, that means the man also will disappear from the earth. Which was the first book that Borges read? Or which was the fairy tale or the first literary reading? It is the fairy tale, Grimm's fairy tale. He read in English version, and he has taken from his own father's library. And from his father's library, he has picked up the taste of reading. So next, move on to the 6th question. In spite of the modern modes of communication, Borges believed that books will not disappear. Illustrate. One thing, if you would have noticed, you can tell that the entire this 6 questions depending on one theme, and he strongly, what is the one thing he's telling? That books will never disappear, and if at all, in case if it is not, books are going to disappear, that means it will be the end of the human history. So that is a theme or the key point to be remembered. Borges experienced the urge of 20th century to advance in science and technology, and change the face of modern century. So that even I do agree, and you too have to agree. There is no option for us. We have to admit the truth that modern century, the 21st century, there is a lot of advancement in the science and technology, and we owe our life to an extent to technology. In this pandemic also, we are staying connected. It is because of technology, and the world is moving on. It is because of technology. We are still connected because so we thank technological development. But at the same time, he is telling that whatever happens, the importance of the book will never come down. And he is telling that he strongly believes that I believe the books will never disappear. It is impossible that will happen. And he is of the view that among many invention of man, one mark question very important, and this you have to by heart it. Any question come from this lesson, you can write this one word. According to Joburgess, the one of the greatest astounding invention what man have ever done is the invention of book itself. All other are just an extension. And he is telling that books are the extension of your memories and imagination. And he is underlining the word and telling that the books cannot be replaced, or the role of the book in your life cannot be replaced. So this word itself you have to use, that is irreplaceable, cannot be replaced at all. If book disappear, surely the history would disappear, and surely man would disappear. This is the true and the most to the most as we continue to read books, even amid of the attraction of social media. It is correct. Even in this present situation, you need to read literally. You have lot of sources. Just listen to the voice message. That is enough for you to grasp or understand. But from where we are getting the information, it is from the book itself. Even though the media, even though it is a digital revolution is taking place, but everything we owe, there must be a written script where somebody is quoting from it. So we can say that the history of mankind owe great deal to the invention of books, or the books are the most astounding invention that human being have ever done in his life. So I end this session with the 5 key points. The first key point, you have to remember that the first most astounding invention man have ever done is book itself, and human beings owe a great deal to literature. And according to Joburgess, poetry and literature cannot be replaced, or it's poetic, and he's explaining how the poetic act taking place when the reader writes it and writer enjoys it. And literature means, what is literature? It's a controlled imagination. And he's telling that dreams are past is it's equivalent to your dreams. So he's telling again that books will never ever disappear from the earth crust as long as the man is existing on the earth. And he says that books are the greatest memory of all centuries, and the role of the books is irreplaceable. In the 21st century also, we are living in the digital revolution, but still we owe a great deal to book itself. So I hope you understood how to write the 4 markers and how to score for the 4 markers. I'm just giving one more hint to you. First, if you wanted to write the 4 markers, read the question and think and frame in your mind, because you have to write only 4 to 5 points. The evaluator is not expecting you to write more than 5 or 6 lines, because it is clearly mentioned in the question paper, that is you have to write for 80 to 100 words. You can go on writing only for the 6 markers. So I now firmly believe that books are your best friends forever. Thank you. Have a spiritful day and stay safe and stay blessed.